Today we have a Kenworth T880 tractor with an East Genesis dump trailer. Now this was made by First Gear and it's in 1/50th scale. Now this is a pretty cool set. It's awesome to have another dump trailer and it's pretty good quality, but in all honesty there's something about this that is not quite right. And I can't quite put my finger on it and I'm trying to figure it out, and it's just, I don't know what it is. It looks good and it's decent quality, and there's a couple things that are just phenomenal, a couple things that aren't so great, but there's just something that doesn't look right and I can't quite figure out what it is. Now the tractor is typical First Gear quality. I mean, it's surprisingly light, and I'm not sure why. Like the frame is metal, the hood and the cab is metal, like it is on all the First Gear tractors, but there's something about it that's just off. Now you do have a little bit of steering here, which is cool. You know, they're kind of matching up with everybody else now, adding the steering, which is nice. But the tractor does look pretty good. The hood does open up and you can see inside there. Now the motor's black, which probably means that it's got a PACCAR engine in it. Now PACCAR, if you don't know, owns Kenworth and Peterbilt, and they also make their own motors. So that would make sense that it would have a PACCAR engine inside this Kenworth. Now the cab, the doors don't open up, but the windows are open, and you can kind of see inside there, and you can see it's got a stick because it's a real tractor, which is pretty nice. You got the fuel tank here, you got your def tank here. The paint is pretty well done. You got the nice little Kenworth logo there. It's just adorable. And you got your blue cap on your def tanks. As God forbid you fill up your fuel tank with def. That makes an absolute mess, by the way. You're gonna pay big bucks if you do that. Anyway, what's interesting is behind the headache rack you have this other tank here, which I can only assume is a tank for a wet line, which is pretty neat. I don't know if all the T880s have a wet line tank, but it's neat that this one does. So it is a pretty good looking set. You do have the wet line on the trailer, but it's glued in place. If you really wanted to, you could pull it off there and tuck it in here somewhere, but you don't have any connections for your airlines and your electric anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Now the trailer itself is pretty well done. It's a great casting. The DOT striping and the lights and all the logos and everything look really good. You got your access door in the front, which is molded in. All your warning labels and everything just look fantastic. Underneath it looks pretty good. You have the screw type landing gear, which is pretty neat. I think that's new for First Gear, but maybe not. Maybe they've done it before. I can't remember when though. The axles and everything look pretty good. You have these solid mud flaps back here, and I say solid because they are just solid plastic, which kind of leads to problems. We'll get to that later. The other thing that's really cool is it's set up to look like you have a, I want to say it's a dual action tailgate. It looks like it's set up so that it opens up like a typical tailgate, like it unlatches and it hinges from the top, unlatches at the bottom and hinges from the top, or you can undo the latch here and you have a series of hinges so it opens up like a barn door. And that's how it works on the model. It looks like it could do both ways, but it's only set up to do the barn door. The other thing that's really cool is that the grain door actually works, and it works easily. I mean, it's just effortless to get that thing opened up. It's just really cool. Now, funny story. Back when I was running the crane, we would do, you would go work for a roofing contractor, and they would send dump trucks with pea gravel. And, you know, you'd fly a concrete bucket to the back of the dump truck, and they would, you know, open up the little grain door, and you'd fill up the concrete bucket, and you fly to the roof. And eventually, you would get to a point where somebody would have to get in and start shoveling the last little bits of gravel into the grain door. Now, typically, what most guys do is they get a ladder, and they climb up into the bed. What this poor guy did, he opened up the grain door, and he climbed in through the grain door. And I can't explain to you how little this hole is, and I saw this guy shimmy up through there, and I thought it was hilarious. I looked down at one of the other guys, and they were all just laughing because I don't think anyone's ever seen someone go through that little door, and this guy just did it like it was his job. It was hilarious. Anyway, so the trailer really does look pretty good. Where it gets disappointing is when you go to dump it. Now, it's a frameless dump, and you have some pretty good telescoping cylinders there. But that's about as far as it goes. So you really don't get a good dumping angle. And then with these solid mud flaps, the trailer kind of sits on these plastic mud flaps, which is a little bit disappointing in all honesty. I mean, it really does look good. It's a great looking set. But that's a little disappointing. You know, if you wanted to put it on the shelf with the bed in there, you're going to look at it every time and be like, yeah, it's not great. But for the price you pay, and again, this, I know I say this all the time, it's important to keep in mind how much you're paying for these models. And for the price that you pay, it's really pretty good. I think it's certainly passable by any means. Now, if you want to set it with a Diecast Masters truck, that little hitch there works on first gear, but it doesn't really work on Diecast Masters. It fits and it looks good, but it doesn't stay in that fifth wheel. It just doesn't. They're just not set up the same. But it looks good. Anyway, overall, I think it's a nice set. Could it be better? Yeah. Could it cost twice as much? Yeah, probably. So it's, for what you pay for, I think it's pretty good. Anyway, that's about all I got for this. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to ask. If there's something you'd like to see, let me know. I might just have it. Now, I'm going to try to get a little bit more consistent putting videos out, but I can't make any promises. I am super busy right now. This summer has just been kind of crazy so far. And it's just, it's just kind of the way life goes. Anyway, that being said, if you want to see more of what I have, please subscribe to Maryland Construction Diecast, and thanks for watching.